Hello again, this is Adam House from Combat Veterans and Disabled Veterans for Ron Paul, host of the Language of Liberty show on blogtalkradio.com. And I'm once again on the Liberty Tour to Tampa. Today's my first day on the Florida leg of my journey, and I'm in Tallahassee at Occupy Tallahassee, and I'm here with Larry. And Larry has been here since the beginning of Occupy in Tallahassee. Larry, it's good to see you today. How you doing?
Larry, a bit warm, isn't it? We're doing good.
A little bit warm, sweating a little bit, but we'll be all right, won't we? So Larry, you're telling me you're a vet as well, Vietnam War era veteran, and tell us a little bit about Occupy starting up here in Tallahassee and what y'all have seen here on the ground.
Well, we started shortly after the Occupy Wall Street happened. We, like a lot of people in the country and the world, actually, saw that it was real important. There was a few people controlling everything, and the rest of us were basically cows on their farm. And people are a little tired of it, and so we feel that there's a lot of common interest, whether you're to left or right or Republican or Democrat. A lot of us feel that we're being burned by somebody that is not our elected representatives. We feel that. A lot of us feel that the election system is more like a system of prostitution than a system of democracy, where our elections have been bought and sold, and the decisions that are being made by those basically concubines of the wealthy and powerful are the ones that get us all this message, get us in the wars we got, and get us into this horrible debt that we got in this country, it's affecting especially those that we're supposed to be responsible for, the children and the senior citizens and the people that are disabled, are getting the short end of the stick, and the working people in this country. They're struggling to put food on the table, and they're having their houses taken right out from under them, and having their jobs taken from them. Takes food off the table, and we think it's time for change, and for whatever representation we've got, whether it be local or state or federal, to be responsible and responsive to the people of this country.
So what kind of issues have people here at this Occupy seem to take up with? Is there big anti-war sentiment, or what are some of the bigger issues that people are talking about down here?
Rather than national and international issues, we've been more concentrated on state and local issues, especially the state issues. We addressed the legislature when they came into session on the 10th with a list of things that we expected of them, and the two that we had the time and resources to deal with were the privatization. They chose the privatization of prisons to go first because they figured that nobody would give a damn one way or the other, whereas if they'd tried to privatize education or health care right off the bat, they would have met with a lot of resistance, but they didn't meet with resistance. There were actually 10 Republican senators that stood up to the leadership in the Senate and said, no, we're not supporting this. It doesn't save any money. It costs money. And it's basically the privatization issue. Basically what they're talking about is getting control of that pie so they can split it up and pass out the pieces to their buddies. So we encourage those 10 senators and let them know that we appreciated their courage and asked them to keep it up, and they did. They stood, because it would have taken one vote to change things, and they stood together and they stood tall, and they showed courage and honesty, and they built the system, and a lot of them paid for it dearly politically, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that have the courage to speak the truth,
right?
And we appreciate that. And after that vote, there were 3 of us who were up there to watch the vote, and we went down to the office of each of those senators and thanked them and their staff for showing the courage and standing firm and putting that baby to bed. The other issue was the foreclosure. They tried to, the banks and the real estate cartel, the real estate cartel is what I call it, tried to push through some legislation that would have made it easier for them to foreclose and take people's properties from them. And we felt that the shoe was really on the wrong foot. We're a little disturbed, or I'm definitely disturbed personally, that we don't see anybody that was involved in that scam, either the banking or the real estate cartel, in prison, quite frankly. They are basically stealing people's homes. They're stealing people's property. They're putting people out of their homes. The people in this country, for the most part, that home is their nest egg. That's where they put their investment in. That's what they feel they've got to borrow money against, to send their kids to college, to do what they need to when they get older, to get that procedure that maybe their medical doesn't take care of, that may be the one that saves their life or the life of one of their children, you know. And that's been taken away from them. And even those that haven't lost their homes, it's just constant paranoia and fear now, you know, that the bank is going to come and be able to take your home, and supposedly our representative government is not going to do anything to stand in the way of that.
So you feel like there's been some successes here on the ground with your local Occupy?
Oh, I know they're having those two issues. You know, we won those two issues, and it's not that the 3 or 4 of us that went up there and did that work won it. But we won it by our contribution to those others that held those concerns. And people came from all over Florida, you know, to address those concerns. You know, we met people from as far as Key West. And somebody on the foreclosure issue, they came up here. They had a bus that came up the East Coast and a bus that came up the West Coast, and they came up to a House hearing. And I'll be damned if the House committee they had the hearing and was going to have the hearing, canceled the hearing after these people had gone to the trouble to come all the way up here. Got here at 4:30 in the morning for that hearing, and this nervy bunch of arrogant people refused to hear the people, you know. And so for the next month or so, had groups of 5 to 10 people on that foreclosure issue continue to come up here 6 or 8 times, you know, to address that issue at much expense and sacrifice to themselves. But we won that battle, you know.
So what do you see as being possible goals as we move forward, going into the future? What do you see the role of Occupy and a lot of the other grassroots groups that are springing up around the country being?
Well, I think the important thing is to speak truth to power, and that takes work, you know, and a lot of people are not, unfortunately, a lot of people aren't willing to roll up their sleeves and do the work it takes. It takes going in and doing the research and digging out those facts and figures, you know, and publishing them in a way that everybody can understand, you know, how we're getting ripped off. People need to understand that a lot of these issues, whether it's privatization or war or how they're dealing with the medical situation in this country, that most of the ways they're doing that, the flagrant development of our natural resources, the suburban sprawl, the kind of development they got down here in front of us on Gaines Street, where they're spending $100 million to take a 4-lane street and turn it to a 2, and talking about being green, and they don't even have a bike lane on it. Okay, but that's $100 million at the same time they're closing down neighborhood schools and save $2 million a year, you know, and restricting funds to these little grassroots organizations that are actually rolling up their sleeves, going into the neighborhoods and helping people that are in need of help, you know, away from the bureaucracy and all that. And
the bureaucracy eats up an awful lot of resources.
Bureaucracy eats a lot of resources, and it's not. And the other thing, me personally, I hear people say the government this, the government that, and to me that disturbs me. The reason it disturbs me is because that's making concessions. That's surrender. It's my government. It's your government. It's our government. It's not the government. It's acting like the government, but we got to make it our government again, you know.
Time for the people to take it back, ain't it, Larry?
Yes, we need to get, number one, get the money out of the election system.
Yeah.
So that regular, hard-working people can run for elected office. People that are honest. People that aren't taking those $500,000, $2,500 on a federal level, I believe, checks from people that expect to get something out of their hide back from it, and it's quite obvious that the kind of legislation we get, that they are bought and sold. You know, we are tired of the prostitution. That's on the local level, that's on the federal level, that's on the state level. We want the money out of the election system. We want the opportunity to you or me or anyone to run for elected office, and we want the opportunity as me, you, or anyone else to be able to vote for someone who is not on the dole of some big corporation or some special interest, whether that's on a local level or on a federal level.
Larry, appreciate you taking time with me again, and a fellow veteran, appreciate your service, sir.
Appreciate your service.
Once
man.
again, this was Adam House with Combat Veterans and Disabled Veterans for Ron Paul, host of the Language of Liberty show on blogtalkradio.com. Still on my Liberty tour to Tampa. Today is August the, 16th?
Yes, it is.
16th, and it's a Thursday. And we'll see you in Tampa on the 24th for Paul Fest. See you there.